All right, it is August 22, 2019. This is the August hearing for the Special Magistrate in Fort Oviedo, Florida. We are moving now into the Code Enforcement docket. We have two cases on the docket today. The first is a compliance report case. It's case CE 19-000027, Lima Ephraim and Kelly Indris. The property in question is 160 Long Acres Lane, Oviedo, Florida 32765. Parcel ID number is 14-31-300-004G-00000. This is a case that actually was heard before us back on April 25th, 2019. I'm assuming this is a compliance report, but who's going to be speaking to this today? All right, anyone who's going to be speaking, step up to the microphone. All right, we'll start with, all right, we've got a host here, so I see Mr. Scott. Go ahead and state your name for the record, each person, if you would.
Dave Stevens, City of Oviedo Code Enforcement.
Jay Higbee, Oviedo Development Review Manager.
Aaron Kirsch, resident.
Aaron, E-A?
A-A-R-O-N-K-I-R-S-C-H.
All right.
Kelly Indris.
Ephraim Lima.
Michael Scott, Code Enforcement Manager.
All right, would you all raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you shall give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, we'll start with the city. Who's going to be speaking on behalf of the city?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Stevens, what do you have for us today?
All right, Your Honor, again, Dave Stevens, City of Oviedo Code Enforcement. The case CE 19-00027, 160 Long Acres Lane, Oviedo, Florida. I have a packet of 12 pages for the court. May I approach the bench?
Yes. Has a copy been provided to the respondents?
Yes, sir.
All right. And how many pages did you say?
12 pages, Your Honor.
All right, that will be received as the city's exhibit. All right, go ahead.
All right. To begin with, again, you did order this matter to be brought again to the court today, August 22nd. If you look, the first page in the packet is the property appraiser's sheet as of today, showing the respondents are in fact still owners of 160 Long Acres Lane. Second document is notice of hearing sent to the respondent. The next is a certified mail receipt sent to the Grayson Drive. We did not receive a green card. However, here's the next one is a certified mail receipt sent to church, and we do have a green card for that.
All right.
We also posted the property, posted City Hall, sent first class according to FS 162.
All right. All right. As a threshold matter, I'm going to find that all the notices required by ordinance and Florida statutes have been provided, and I do note the presence of Mr. Lima and Ms. Indris here today.
Thank you,
Go
Your Honor.
ahead.
Okay, next document would be my affidavit of service. The next two pictures are pictures that were taken yesterday afternoon showing basically the property in the same state of condition. The last document is your order of the special magistrate. Again, this was brought before the court the 25th of April, 2019. The next two pages, there are, if you look at the highlighted items 2 through 11, as of today, those are not in compliance.
2 through 11 are not?
Correct. And at this time, I'd like to request permission of the court to bring up Mr. Higbee for his portion of presentation of this.
All right, just one moment. I want to look at something here. All right, Mr. Higbee.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to be brief, but I'd be happy to answer questions you have. After the stipulated order was issued, which I believe is the items that were referred to a minute ago by code enforcement, there was a meeting in May, approximately a month later, with the owners to look at some documents that they had prepared in order to discuss how to update those documents potentially to comply with those items. And since that time, we haven't had further contact. There were attempts at having a meeting. They requested an additional meeting after we sent them comments on July 2nd. Well, let me go back. There was a meeting in May 29th. They filed something on June 14th after that meeting, and then we commented back on July 2nd. And
What did they file after the July 2 meeting?
They filed what they were hoping would be items complying with this number 2 through 11 that we've been talking about. There were some. There was a survey and some other documents, such as they were similar to building permit documents. Unfortunately, the building permit type documents are not necessarily the type documents which are being requested for items 2 through 11. But some of the information, I will correct one statement that I might not have communicated clearly to code enforcement before the meeting. I think condition number 2 in the stipulated order, where they did provide a scaled survey showing a wetland delineation line and an ordinary high water mark and flood line and so forth, was met, but the other conditions were not met. So we were unable to issue comments that they had completed those requirements.
Okay, which items then have they not complied with?
So the ones that originally were being discussed for the first tier, if you will, which were due on June 17th, no later than June 17th, items 2 through 7, which is what we were expecting them to file in June, were not met with the exception of item number 2. They did supply an accurate survey.
So
Then there was a subsequent.
Let me stop you. I want to make sure.
Yes.
On June 17, they were to deliver a scale, sign, and seal survey. Have they done that?
They have done that, and that's number 2.
And did that depict the 50-foot setback line and the normal high water elevation?
It did.
So they have complied with number 2.
Number 2, yes. And that is the only one that was complied with out of 2 through 7, which was the items due by June 17th. There was a subsequent set of items due by August 17th having to do with wetland restoration and approvals such as they would get from FDEP, which is the, jurisdiction over the wetland in this area. And those items didn't later get supplied either.
So they've complied with paragraph 2 of my prior order, but nothing else. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct. And then there were attempts after the July 2nd comments went out, which were focusing on the items that were due on June 17th. There were attempts at a meeting. They requested one, then they had to request another meeting day, and we made multiple attempts after that to meet, and were unable to arrange a meeting time with them.
Do they have a professional assisting them with providing the documents that they agreed to provide?
They likely do, but we've never had contact with that professional.
All right, so that I understand, by June 17, 2019, one of the items they were to provide was a plan detailing the proposed quantity and type of fill, how the site will be graded, and how it will be planted so as to avoid stormwater impacts on adjacent lots. They've not provided that.
No, not completely. They did provide something, but it didn't meet the requirements of our Public Works Department.
All right. Paragraph 4, by June 17, they were to provide evidence of erosion control measures. Has that been provided?
No.
By June 17, they were to provide a tree restoration plan. Has that been provided?
No. There was a landscape plan. It did not meet the requirements. We requested further information on the landscape plan as well and didn't get responses when we requested that.
Number 6, no later than June 17, 2019, they were to provide evidence that other vegetation adjacent to the area of clearing, grading, and tree removal shall not be damaged. Have they provided that?
No.
Number 7, they were to provide by June 17 a professional determination of whether any part of the site is a wetland. Have they provided that?
The only thing that was provided in the survey, which we discussed under item number 2, they showed a wetland flag location, which was signed by a surveyor. But I don't think that's definitive evidence of, an examination of a determination of where the wetland actually is. We usually get reports from professionals that discuss the wetland and how that conclusion was arrived at, where the wetland delineation is and so forth. We didn't get that. If they had gone ahead and completed work with FDEP, which we didn't require at that time, we required them to do by a later time, that also could have been sufficient for that, but we didn't get anything regarding that either.
All right. And so that I understand, this order that we signed on April 25, 2019 was an agreed order between the city and the respondents?
Yes.
So at one time they agreed to do these things?
Yes, there was an attorney here at your April 25th meeting the day this order was issued, and that was an agreement at that time.
All right, item number 8, they were to provide by August 17 a wetland restoration plan complying with requirements of Land Development Code Section 15.4. Have they done that?
No.
And item 9 was no later than August 17, 2019, they were to provide a depiction of a wetland buffer if it's required. Has that been done?
No.
So actually what they've not provided is items 3 through 9, actually, because items 10 and 11 are really
Correct.
provisions on deferring the fine.
Yes.
All right, I'll hear from the respondents this time. Who wants to speak for them? All right, and do speak close to the microphone and into it, if you would. Who's going to speak first?
I can.
DEP stuff?
Yes, we do have an order from DEP that we are working with them on compliance.
With whom?
With the Department of Environmental Protection. They have agreed to our wetland buffer, which is item number 7. They agreed with what is on the wetland line as far as the survey. And then our engineer we've turned everything in. We provided the documents twice. So, I mean, and we sat with Mr. Higbee and Mr. Scott on that June or May meeting and went over line by line item with the plans that were turned in and said, does this meet this line item? And they both told us yes. And that is why we turned in those documents as they were, which this order essentially says that we're to provide, not necessarily have approved drawings, but to provide. We've provided everything we were asked to provide. Our engineer has been discussing with the Public Works lady, I believe her name is Gloria, and she told him on Monday of this week that she's not going to review or approve drawings until she sees something from DEP, which we're currently under process for.
And when do you expect to have that?
We already got.
We've turned in our application. They have 30 days for review.
And this is the Department of Environmental Protection with the state.
Correct.
Yep. So that's got to get done.
And so that really needs to be done first before any of this, apparently, according to the city's Public Works.
When did you make that submittal to the DEP?
Monday.
This Monday?
Yes, sir.
Why did you wait till this Monday?
Because coordination efforts with the DEP, with our architect, waiting for a survey, there's multiple impacts that come into play, unfortunately, that we have no control over.
So we have to request it.
All right,
We'd like to request additional time, Your Honor.
let's go through some of the items.
Sure.
Apparently you did provide a scaled and science survey. What have you provided for number 3, a plan detailing the proposed quantity and type of fill?
On that same set of drawings that the survey was on, I'm not sure if Mr. Higbee has it with him. It appeared he might have them. There is a detail section showing the grading plan, the slope and everything on there.
Does it show the quantity and type of fill that's going to be placed?
I believe so.
Mr. Higbee, does it?
The engineer does.
That's the engineers, and that's why we sat down and with our engineer.
Okay, well, I'm trying to find out what has anything been submitted that would show the proposed quantity and type of fill? Does that show on the survey?
The engineering department or Public Works would be the one that commented on that in our July 2nd correspondence. In my opinion, the information's incomplete, but I'm not engineering. Their comments support what I'm telling you, that some information was provided, but it was not sufficient as a grading plan.
All right. So that's, Mr. Higbee, you might want to stay here. I want to go through these items. Number 4, were to provide evidence of erosion control measures. What did you provide on that?
We did detailed drawings on the permit, on the documents that we turned in, showing for silt fencing and protection of the trees. And if you go out to the property, there is a silt fence around the perimeter, as well as a turbidity barrier within the water that has been there since January.
All right, Mr. Higbee?
So from various things I have heard over time, there is some silt fence out there, so I don't disagree with that. Whether it complies or not, I can't comment on. But the comments that came from engineering on July 2nd after their submittal said those conditions had not been met. So there must be something still in play regarding the silt fence.
All right.
May I ask a question, Your Honor?
Sure.
I just want to be clear on the semantics and what we're really discussing, because this document says that, excuse me, that we were to provide this evidence. We provided documents. We've provided things. Our architect has been trying to work and get an appointment with the lady in Public Works Department. They were unfortunately just able to meet this Monday, and her conclusion was that she wasn't even going to really review it or anything until we had something from DEP. So I think when you're asking if we met these conditions, we have. We provided them. It didn't say have provide and approve. So I just want to be clear of what we're actually...
It's not sufficient simply to provide them with some paperwork. The paperwork has to meet the requirements of the
But they
City of
do.
Oviedo ordinances.
We hired an engineer, and we paid him a lot of money, and he knows what he's doing.
And he's met with this gentleman as well.
And this gentleman, they don't have an engineer license, and he does, so they're arguing between them two. So the only thing we can do is hire a professional and let them work it out. They're still working it out. That's what we're coming here and requesting extension time, so this will allow us more time for them to work out any differences that they have.
Well, how much time do you think you need to meet the requirements?
We should have a permit. We already paid the fine from DEP. We already got all the credits that they need to offset the wetland that we impacted. So this should be taken care of in 30 days. I mean, completely done.
That's what
And
we've
now
been
it's
told.
just matter of fact, guys, that we're talking about numbers, 3%, 2%, not enough pitch, too much pitch. This engineer has done many permits here and across the state. And he does it everywhere he goes. He stayed to us, because we were going to fire him. And he said, don't do that. Well, you have to start somebody all over again. I do this every day. They're just being very picky, and they do not want to approve you. We have emails back and forth between them, and all we need is more time to be able to get this done. There's nothing else we can do.
What's the city's position on an extension?
Well, I will say that in every case that I've dealt with, which is only a few in my 16 months here working for the city, that's dealt with a wetland that had to go through FDEP, it seems to take a long time in every case to solve these problems. And with the wetland, there's a chicken and egg thing that happens because, for instance, the engineering department does have some discomfort when they don't know what the outcome of the FDEP wetland permit will be, what they can approve. Because if they approve something now and then there's a later issuing of an FDEP permit, it could come into conflict with something that we have previously reviewed. So the ideal scenario, which hasn't happened in this case, would be that you already have an FDEP permit. That would simplify everything greatly. So I do have some sympathy for that situation. That doesn't discount in any way the violations that have occurred and so forth, but that's a real issue that makes it difficult to complete it.
Do you have any guess as to how long it's going to take the DEP to provide the necessary permit?
I do not, but I know it's taken, in some cases, 6 months or a year to get something like that done, and it's already been over 6 months since we first discovered the violation. It's probably about 8 months or so since we discovered the violation at this site. So maybe the owners, because they've been working with DEP, have a better feel for that on their side.
All right.
This is your copy, correct?
What I just handed them was the documents that were filed in June. There was another survey that fell on the floor. Did you get that? Okay. Those are the documents that we were referring to earlier that were filed in June that we said were incomplete.
Set fence, the pitch, the grading.
Again, I acknowledge that there was some information in these plans, but engineering has indicated that they don't meet their requirements. And on the landscape side, which I reviewed, that didn't meet my requirements either. I also sent questions a couple times to you all by voicemail and email and didn't get responses on the landscaping, so I wasn't able to resolve that.
All right.
We got everything in here. It's just matter of fact. It's just a matter of getting a little bit more detail. But like he stated, until DEP doesn't approve it, it's really hard to go forward. We turn everything in. We paid the fines. The only thing we're waiting on is for a permit. We should have it within 30 days. I say in about 3 weeks. We should have it.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
But they could come around and say, we're missing a...
And
we don't know what, and then we have to turn it in.
another 30 days. But we are extremely actively working on this case to close it.
All right. All right. It does appear that the respondents are at least working on the problem, although I continue to be a little perplexed with the idea that it wasn't until this Monday that anything was submitted to the DEP.
That's because there was multiple meetings between April, May, June, and this
And
time.
the engineer as well in the survey was trying to, you see like everything that we're doing here, we're doing exactly the same, exactly the same penalty that you guys are requiring, they're requiring. So once we pay those penalties, which we already cut them a big check already for those penalties, for the same violation, then all this violation here should go away, because we're already paying for those, or we already did. So we're
actively working on it.
extremely working on it. And the last Monday you said, that was the last time we meet. Our engineer is communicating with you guys bi-weekly. Every week. That was the last time that he communicated with you guys.
But he's now being told that she doesn't, he
She-
went there to go through those items on the drawings with Miss Gloria, I believe is her name, and she
For the
didn't,
second time.
this is the third or fourth time he's tried to go,
Okay.
he finally got a meeting with her, and she pretty much told him that until she sees a DEP permit, she doesn't even want to go through the drawings with him.
All right.
So we're at a standstill as far as even being able to
All
update
right.
those drawings.
All right, what I'm going to do, there is no special magistrate hearing scheduled in November. I'm going to continue this until December 5. That should be, let's see, September, October, November, at least 90 days.
That's too much. Can we get a
Can
little
we
bit
do
closer?
October?
Can we get it a little bit by
Or if we,
October?
okay, here, how about this? If it's set for December and we have everything prepared, is there a magistrate meeting in October?
Can we set it for October?
Well, of course, if the city approves everything, then there'll be no need for a hearing in December.
Okay, yes, sir.
But I'm placing this back on my docket December 5, 2019, because my experience with the DEP is that they do not move within 30 days.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're making good faith efforts, I'm willing to work with you. You have to understand, what I'm interested in is getting something done to restore this property.
Yes, sir.
And you should understand that a lot of what you're going through now would have been necessary had you gone through the permitting process before removing all those trees. So I'm going to extend this, I'm going to continue this hearing until December 5, 2019. And I'm expecting the city to notify me if the problem has been resolved before then, so we can take it off the docket. I do see there's some other people here today who came to speak, and I want to give them their chance to speak. Anyone here today who, Mr. Scott? Yes, sir.
My concern would be the $15,500 fine we were supposed to address today. Are you going to address that today?
No, I'm not going to address the fine today.
I want to make sure we're on the thing.
Because I'd rather see compliance, and I suspect the city would rather see compliance than the fine. So,
I just want to make sure we're all on the same
yes.
page. Okay, thank you.
yes. All right, anyone else who wants to speak today? I did see that Mr. Aaron Kurth was here. Did you want to say anything, Mr. Kurth? Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I just wanted to be a resource, if possible. I haven't prepared a statement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that will be my ruling. The hearing is continued December 5, 2019. Hopefully it's resolved by then. If not, we'll come back and we'll revisit it. Hopefully the property is well on its way to restoration by then. All right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next item on the agenda is case CE 1900538. Yeah, the respondents are, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, but Shoban and Maida Smart. The property in question is 2721 Running Springs Loop, Oviedo, Florida, 32765. Parcel number is 25-1-5-3-1-5-5-LP-0000-1300. Who's going to be speaking to this item today? Okay, who's on behalf of the city? Anyone?
I am, but I don't really have any statements at this time, Your Honor.
All right. And would you state your name in the record, please, sir?
My name is Shoban Smart.
Would you raise your right hand, Mr. Smart? Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, what do you have for us, Mr. Smart? All right, has the city seen these?
Yes, Your Honor.
You seen the slide presentation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're offering these in evidence?
Yes.
All right, they will be accepted into evidence as respondents' exhibit. All right, go ahead, Mr.
Good morning, Your Honor and staff. We are very thankful for giving me a second opportunity to present my case why these trees were damaged. I bought this property in 2012, and when I bought that property, there was a $30,000 lien on the property from city and HOA. Somehow this lien was waived when I acquired the property. But right after I closed my property, HOA started bombarding me with the HOA notices, clean the driveway, trim the trees, take care of the lawn, replace the lawn, add the sod, paint the house, and so and so. I kept doing everything what they asked for. There were two things I always had a problem with. One, overgrowing trees. Other one, maintaining my lawn. I tried very hard to maintain the lawn. I put everything, I hired professionals to maintain the lawn. The biggest problem I had with the lawn was the chinch bug and molds, which was overgrowing on a lawn, and constantly the bugs and insects falling from the tree. If you look at the slide number 13, which shows the lawn when I purchased the property. That was the condition of the lawn.
Let me find that.
Okay,
They're not numbered, so
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's this one.
Okay, I found it.
Yeah. So I work very hard, very diligently, spend a lot of money with the professionals to bring my lawn to the original conditions. And now if you look at my lawn, it's green, it's bugs-free, it's insect-free, and you can see the next two slides how the lawn looks like.
Well, this was before the trees were trimmed.
Well, there is a one after that, which was before the trees were trimmed.
So you were able to get the lawn looking pretty good before you trimmed the trees?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, only thing with the lawn, before I trim the tree, and even now, is overgrown roots. Can't control the overgrown roots. With the trees, with the roof, the trees were overgrown over the roof. When I bought the house, I had the roof inspected, and they gave me the inspection report, the roof is fine. 2013, right after the closing, I had a roof leak. I had to call the roofer to repair the roof. Again, in 2015, 2016, 2017, every year after the rainy season, my roof has leak. Finally, in 2017, I changed the insurance, and insurance company inspected the roof and told me they cannot give me the insurance on the roof until I replace my roof. And when I went to replace the roof, they found big holes on the roof and rotted trusses as well as rotted decking on the roof. You can see the slide number 8, 9. Before the slide number 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shows all my roof repair receipt. But this slide shows the roof, how badly it was damaged.
Okay, that's after the shingles have been removed.
Yeah, and this slide also shows the holes in my decking. And most of this area where the trees were overgrown. So I had to replace the roof. The roofing company didn't pay me nothing for that. They said it is a progressive damage, and it was a damage caused by trees, so we're not going to compensate for that.
Who told you that?
Insurance company. So I had to pay the complete roof replacement cost from my pocket. At that point, I'm good about 30%, $30,000 in cost. $18,000 to maintain the lawn and replace the roof, and a lot of money inside to repair. Well, right after the roof was replaced, I still kept getting HOA notices to pressure clean the driveway, clean the leaves from my yard. I kept doing it. You will be surprised, but we used to pick up 70 bags of leaves every other week. Plus, every rainy season, every time it rains, all those leaves end up into the drainage. And the city may be clogging up, these leaves may be clogging up the city drainage system. I have seen a lot of time the public works people coming in over there, cleaning up the drain too. So you can see the situation which I was in with these overgrown trees. The next slide, you can see all the deckings were replaced. Every one of the decking in the tree-grown area has to be replaced. And I had to pay for it, of course.
You say the decking in the tree
The
area?
roof decking.
Oh, okay.
Roof decking. The gutters, the next slide, the gutters were filled up with the leaves every dry season. And even now, yesterday I had somebody to give me an estimate, so I don't have to clean the gutters every time. I'm 68 years old with the bad knee. I can't go up over there to clean my gutter all the time. So I try to hire a company and they found the whole gutter full of leaves even now. You have a picture over there. I don't have a slide on it. So this was my situation. Besides, the roots were damaging my lawn. The roots were damaging the driveway and the sidewalk. I had a tree limb fell on a driveway and cracked the driveway right in front of me. I was standing right there during the last storm. I was lucky it didn't fall on my car. And I was lucky that there was no there was nobody on the sidewalk walking. You can see the slide clearly where the tree fell and where the sidewalk was damaged. So this is the situation I am in. Even then, I fully cooperated with the HOA and the city. I hired the professional company to come out over there and trim the trees. The same guy was trimming the trees in our neighborhood. And he told me the solution. He told me, he says he can trim the tree back and install the root barrier. And that will stop the trees growing on my roof, and they'll stop damaging my roof. Meanwhile, insurance company also sent me a letter. He says if I don't trim my trees, they will void my insurance. So I hired this professional company to trim the trees.
What company was that?
It was a Green Landscaping.
Green Landscaping?
Yeah. And they were working in the neighborhood. Only thing I saw is they were doing a lot of trimming in my neighborhood. So I thought he may be doing a good job. He may be professional. He will do the job. Unfortunately, after I signed up with them, 2 days later, he had a car accident. So he did not come when they trimmed the tree. He depended on a staff to trim the tree. And that's what the staff did it, had wrecked the tree. It was an unfortunate accident. When I saw it, I felt sorry too. And when landscaper saw it, he felt sorry too. But the excuse the tree trimming people told, he says all the branches were infected. I saw the guy coming down from the tree, and he was all red and blue on his hand. He was walking around without wearing any clothes, and he had bugs and ant bite all over on his body. But I'm sorry, whatever it is happened, and I promise I will not do this again. You know? And I'm still cooperating with the city. After your order, I went out, applied for the tree removal permit. I paid $1,250 to add trees in a tree bank. I had to get someone to make the scale drawing to satisfy the permit requirements. I did that, and I have a permit in my hand. I submitted the permit to HOA. Even today, I don't have an approval from HOA to remove the trees.
This is a permit for what?
To remove the trees.
Oh, to remove the trees,
Yeah.
okay.
So I still don't have a permit from HOA.
But the city has issued a permit.
City has issued the permit, HOA doesn't approve it. I'm not a tree destroyer. I don't destroy the tree. If I wanted to destroy the tree, I would have cut the trees out. You know, I like tree. I'm a tree preserver. I have a lot of other trees growing in my property, like a magnolia, pine tree, grape myrtle. I also planted additional tree in my backyard. I have mango tree. I have an orange tree which was almost dead. I brought it back live. I have a lot of other trees within my property. So it's not like I'm trying to destroy the tree or cutting the tree out. It was an unfortunate incident, and I'm sorry for that. I think the code, which is called development code, is for the developer. I've been working in the construction industries for many years, and I know what the developer does. They come in and clear out the lot, remove the trees. If they have to pay the fine, they pay the fine. It's benefit for them, so that way they can develop the land with the more structures, add landscaping to meet the code violation requirement, but they make a big profit from this lot. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm not going to make any profit from this lot. But I'm in a big loss right now. I have a very hefty fine. I live on my retirement income. I'm retired now. I can't afford this kind of a fine. I'm begging, my honor, please help me out with this fine. I can't pay this fine. It's very high, and I cannot, I may be out of a house if I had to pay that fine. That's the situation, you know. I have a 35 years of experience and a knowledge with the park system. I built the park for Broward County, Florida. And I also go, after I retire, I go out and help a lot of cities and a lot of other municipalities to resolve their park-related and handicap and also other issues. I moved in the city of Oviedo because I heard the name City of Oviedo with the good park system. I went around and I looked at it. They have a very good park system.
We do.
I could be a good asset to the city of Oviedo. I'm already helping Mr. Higbee with some of their issues. I could be a good asset for Oviedo. So please don't put me out of the city of Oviedo. I don't want to leave the Oviedo. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to become a homeless. At this point, I'm just requesting, please help me out with the fine. I have plenty of trees in my yard. Please help me out with putting additional trees in my yard. Most of the yard is covered between the easement and a structure.
Right.
The remaining area is covered with the roots. It will be very difficult for me to add a tree because there's no area left. I have my backyard full of trees also because I planted additional trees. So I know you have declared the fine last time, and I know the city required me to add one more tree, but please help me out.
Are you going to add the one more tree?
I could, but it will be very difficult for that tree to grow because I have roots and easement covering most of the area. Remaining area, I have a driveway, sidewalk, and a building. But I'll still try, if you insist, I'll still try to grow a tree. But I already got the price from one tree person, at least 3 or 4 tree person, and the all tenant told me that they'll have to come in over there and dig up the roots, make a big hole, make a big mess to plant one tree. And that is going to cost me around $1,200.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. I'll hear from the city.
Even though I don't have anything prepared, I do have a copy of the tree removal permit and a copy of his receipt that he has paid into the tree bank and part of the fine. I would be happy to present it to Your Honor.
Yes, I would like that. I'll accept this as the city's exhibit. What's the city's position on reducing the fine?
We have no problem in reducing the fine, Your Honor. We have seen that Mr. Smart has, in fact, worked with the city. He's been in constant contact with the city, is trying to resolve a very bad situation.
Well, you've heard some things today you didn't hear at the last hearing, some of the extenuating circumstances.
Yes, sir.
Does the city have anything to suggest in the way of what would be a fair fine under the circumstances?
Mr. Scott?
Back then, you assessed $3,000 for each, it was $3,000 for each tree.
That's what we did
That's what
initially,
we
yes.
did. We're willing to just put it back on you, Your Honor, and let you make a
Okay.
viable
right.
suggestion on this.
All right. Well, I see that right now. Sure.
The city ordinance says city may, doesn't say must, may apply the fine. And there's a big wide range of the fine too. $250 minimum, $5,000 maximum. I've seen a lot of other municipalities doing the same way, so they can give a break to the homeowner or somebody else who make this kind of a damage, and to developer who can pay heavy fine, So $250 to the homeowner, it's affordable to them, for them to pay something like that. $5,000 is too much.
All right. All right. All right. Anything else anyone has to offer?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I see that the respondents have contributed $1,250 to the tree bank, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And
Plus the permit fee.
what was the permit fee?
It may be on that document, Your Honor.
No, I don't see a
I
permit.
believe it was $150.
So that was total, $150 for all of them?
Yes, ma'am. I think it was about $1,500 total I had to check.
About $1,500?
Total I paid to the city.
Okay.
Is it right?
Well,
On the third page of the document, Your Honor, the City of Oviedo customer receipt, it shows a tree removal permit, application fee for 4 trees, and then the tree bank. And that would be the third page of the document that I handed you.
okay, let's look at that. Okay, $1,390. All right. All right. How do you feel about waiving the requirement that he replant a tree? Mr. Scott?
We can't waive that because he did say he paid into the tree bank. He paid into the tree bank, so we can't waive that.
You could waive
Yeah,
that?
we can waive that.
All right. All right, I am going to find that there were extenuating circumstances, and although it is a shame that these trees were reduced to nothing, as it were, I'm going to relieve the respondents of the obligation to replant one tree.
Thank you.
I'm going to reduce the fine to $3,200. Because I do find, based upon respondents' testimony, that perhaps the landscaping company did do more than he intended for them to do. That doesn't relieve you of having supervised them more carefully or chosen your tree cutter more carefully, but our main goal is really to keep people from taking out trees without permits.
I understand
It may
that.
well be that if you apply for a permit, the city would have granted it. I have no way of knowing that.
I understand that.
But with the $3,200 in fines, with what you've already paid, I think that keeps it very close to under $5,000. So I'm reducing the fine to $3,200, payable 30 days from now. What is 30 days from now? Let's look at that. It's payable by September, well, let's say October the 10th. Okay, October
Asking
10th.
my wife, can you spare $3,200? Because we have a limited money.
Yes,
I
I understand.
educated 3 kids.
Yes. But October 10th gives you a little about a month and a half, roughly. So that's going to be my ruling today.
Can't be less than that?
No, sir. That is $800 per tree. These were magnificent trees. I understand.
I understand.
I've lived under oaks myself
Right.
twice in my life. So I know they present problems, but I must tell you that most of the problems are surmountable without doing the damage to the trees. Do you know where Winding Oaks Lane is in Oviedo?
Yeah.
I used to live there under giant oaks until the hurricane took one.
Even now, the landscaper tells to me that he had trimmed many trees like that. He even showed me a few trees, what he had done it like that within the neighborhood, and he says those trees are growing pretty well.
Yes.
Even these trees are started growing back.
Yeah.
You have a lot of leaves on it, but it won't look good. It will look like a lollipop. So I have no problem. This is going to cost me, the tree removal, the tree planting itself cost me about $4,000. Now tree removal is going to cost me another $4,000. So even if you say $3,000 fine, I still have to have $7,000 to $8,000 to take care of the tree, besides paying the fine. That's why I was asking, maybe you can give me more break.
I really think that the $3,200 is fair under the circumstances, and I have to consider, other people come before me every day, and I can't really do more for you than I would do for them.
Okay.
and be fair. So if you need more time to pay it, I don't have a problem with that. If you want until October 24th,
Okay, that'll be
okay, I'll
good.
give you till October 24th. But in good conscience, I can't reduce the fine any further than that.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, is there anything else to come before us today? All right, well then, we are adjourned.